Is the next question is or if we create a new society with a group of conscious people, where in the where in this earth the exact country is best for it? Central America, Costa Rica. This is a question coming from a number 3 asking about if there's going to be a new society.
That's a very interesting question, because we can locate Costa Rica, we can go to Australia, we can go to planet Mars, right? But I think the human consciousness, how we identify and describe human conscious in the space, because despite where we go, there are certain human attributes that are always going to come out and display. And you can have a group of conscious individuals. So just like within this room, we all have different numbers. And if our numbers are not in some type of alignment, then we're just going to mirror the chaos that we currently see. So I don't have an answer to what country would be the best country. Obviously, you want something where there are access to trees, where there are access to a lot of oxygen, where we can grow food. But I think it still comes down to, you go to Black Mountain, you go to different places where a lot of conscious communities have sprouted up, and there's just as much chaos in those conscious communities. So it all comes down to, as far as how you are able to connect with other numbers around you, and how you are able to connect with your current environment, and how you can bring that into a different environment.
Neva, you want to also, that's a beautiful insight right there. Life, you are where you're at, right? Neva, I know that. How do you deal with when you ask this question to yourself as having such
It's really interesting. I was just thinking that even with, for me, home is always where the heart is. So I can make anywhere my home. When I have completed aspects, when I completed the numerology within self, anywhere can be my home. But looking at numerology as in terms of a system, we have our name numbers, we have our psychic numbers, we have our destiny numbers, which kick in after the age of 35. So we can also find out the numerology of the country number that we're moving into. There is a method to add up, each letter of the alphabet is affiliated to a number, and you can see if that is a friendly number or an enemy number to your name number. But then, saying things like that, it's like I'm a Jupiter, so I contain about 60% of the planets are in me. So pretty much most of the countries would probably be great for me. But, you can say if you're a moon, maybe you want to be by the water. If you're a sun, maybe you want to be in a sunny country. There's so many different facets to this, as there are so many facets to self, that you really have to first and foremost, as Brother Seven said, know thyself, know your number, know who you are first, before you even decide to know where you're going to settle into. There's an old system in India where when children are born, they find out, it's called Rashi. It's called the Rashi of the, it's based on how the stars are placed at the time of your birth. And it gives rise to a certain number of letters that if you name the child by those letters, that child is going to have more of a harmonious flow in their life, numerologically. So my mother didn't name me with my Rashi numbers. And, I've had many obstacles in my life, but through those obstacles, I've also learned. Now, with 2 of my daughters, I've named them with their numerology, with their nakshatras, with their Rashis, everything. And I can see their life is low. With my eldest daughter, I didn't do that because I chose her name, because I loved her name and she looked like her name and she looks, and she's had the obstacles in her life, but then being a Saturn, being a number 8, has also been the cause of that. But she's now growing into a very wise old soul. So there's so many, I don't like to confine so much to numbers, but know myself by playing around through the numbers, and they're such a great tool. So
I
I
think
can talk
also
about this forever and ever. It's such a great system.
and I think that's also a big key to what you're saying, Eva, is to play, you know, to make sure that one realizes that why we have many detrimental things going on, you got enough of that. So now, you know, there has to be a balance with all this, that you can start seeing, you know, kind of the joke within yourself, and you can see, you know, the multiple where you really expect these things from certain people, but you're just not that way yourself. And it's just kind of like you have to learn to take yourself as you are. And this is very instrumental for your growth, obviously.
Absolutely. And I'm a psychic number 3 and a destiny number 5. So, you know, now I've come into the phase of my life in my 50s, going into my destiny number now. So that means I'm going into my Mercury phase. Now, Mercury is the closest planet to the sun. And this is why I love the sun. I love being in sunny countries. I am my most happy by the sun. And so I wake up at sunrise. I do my sun gazing. I do my sun gazing at sunset. Everything I do is based around the sun. And then when I had my whole numerology reading done with Harish Johari's sister, she asked me particularly to energize my sun. And actually, I can show you here, to help myself, to draw my sun yantra, which is, I can show you here. And I've drawn my sun yantra, but I now need to color that in, and I will spend my days meditating on that to energize my sun within self, so that my sun becomes more powerful. So, I mean, numerology can take you into so many facets of self.
To add another layer to that, what I found really interesting with getting my natal chart read with a beautiful astrologer by the name of Cal Garrison is she is able to somehow put the modulation over where the planets are at the time of your birth and the trajectory that they run across the earth on. And that's something that I've been applying in my life. She's given me a bit of wisdom. She says, you know, you've got a sun line here running across this country. You've got a Venus line running from here to here. Anywhere you go on those lines is going to be like lift-off energy for you. You're going to be charged by the energy. There's a Pluto line here and there, probably, you know, same as a Mars line. If you want to go and you want to have a growth experience and you want to be in that vibration in that field, then that's a place for that. And that's something that I'm still experimenting with, but I definitely feel when I go to a place that happens to be on a line like that, it kind of flows. But that gets another perspective that again comes down to the metaphysical lines that move across this earth plane from the planets.